What's up, Hwy83 Suzuki YouTubers? It's Tony. You know what the deal is. Another video for you guys. It's Friday night. We're living the high life, and we're working on Billy. I know you know about Billy, the plow truck, badass Suzuki. Well, he needs a little work, which he doesn't get often. Normally he gets worked real hard, put away real rough, you know what I mean? So he doesn't always get the attention he deserves. He's there when you need him, you know what I mean? That's how samurais are. So today we're gonna work on a water pump is what he really needs. Last year it was a brutal year, -20. Billy started weeping cooling from the water pump, and I was like, man, I don't want to change this right now, you know what I mean? Let's wait for summer. Summer came along, too busy, so now here we are. We're still early though, it's still early. We're gonna get Billy fixed up before the real snow starts in Wisconsin. And while we're in there, we're doing a new timing belt, tensioner bearing, and gonna show you how to set it all up. I get a lot of questions from you guys on our website and Facebook and Instagram on how to retime the Samurai and swap the timing belt or restab the distributor and all that great stuff. So it's really easy, and this video is going to show you how to do it, walk you through it, and I hope it helps you as always. So let's get into this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the front of Billy's 1.3 liter engine. As you can see, I got the new water pump installed already, which is very easy, but while you're in here, you got to take off the timing belt anyway, so that's when you want to replace your timing belt and your tensioner bearing. If you're getting any leaks from the seals behind the crank or the cam gear, that's the time to address the issues or replace the water or the oil pump. Billy doesn't need any of that. Everything looks fairly decent. He's no showpiece. I just need him reliable to keep the path to Hwy83 open. So we're just doing the water pump and the timing belt. So before I took the old belt off, which I always do, you want to line up your crank gear and your cam gear at 12. So I put red marks on there for the video. So you want to line up this guy here with that guy there. And you want to line up this guy here with that guy there. So what you got there is you're in perfect time. So even if you started with an engine you don't know about, this is where you want to put them to retime the engine. This is where number 4 cylinder is going to be at top dead center on the compression stroke. And the cylinder head valves are going to be in the appropriate position to let the fuel in, and the distributor is going to be lined up to create the spark at that exact time, causing an explosion, pushing the piston back down and getting you your 64 horses that you crave. So here we go. So before I got that timing belt off, I lined them up just so I know I'm all good. Otherwise, if you start from scratch, this is where you want them. Both of them at 12 o'clock noon, pointing up on there's a mark on the oil pump. So both of these up, this and this up. And now you'd be ready to put on your timing belt, which I will get into right now. Okay, guys, we got our new belt slipped over the cam and the crank gear. And what we're going to do is install this new tensioner bearing. Oftentimes the belt and the bearing will come together in a kit, which I would recommend doing, always changing both at the same time. This kit also came with new seals for the cam and the crank, so if you wanted to replace that, it's a nice little kit. Or sometimes you can get a kit with water pump and oil pump and do everything all at once, which is a very nice way to do it, especially if you just bought a used engine and you want to decorate it with all new parts. So this is very easy. Slide it on, make sure your marks are still lined up, and on your tensioner bearing you have this little hole that is going to go in correlation with this little tab right here. This is the timing tensioner plate that has this little spring, and this pushes, when you adjust this puts more pressure on the belt, which will keep tension so your belt stays on and everything stays correct. Okay, we have the bearing installed. We have our bolt in there and our stud for the tension plate. And as you can see, this is a swinging adjustment. So as I push on that plate, if you can see it in the video, that bearing will move a little bit. The bearing is moving inward, putting pressure on the belt, reducing the slack in here. So there won't be any slack. So you want to push it in about finger tight, which roughly usually sets it about in the center of that tension plate. So we'll put it in the center and tighten down our stud to hold it there. All right, guys, we have our stud and the bolt about hand tight. Now, what the factory service manual from Suzuki recommends is making 2 whole revolutions, which is 1 whole, compression stroke of the engine to seat the belt and take away any slack, and then we're going to tighten them down. So what I have is my 17mm socket on the crank bolt, and we are simply just rotating the engine around. And we're going to make the whole revolution until the lines are marked back up and up. Both 12 o'clock is what I'm getting at. Sorry. So these 2 are lined up. As you can see here, this mark is at the bottom. So we're halfway there right now. The exhaust valve would be open, letting the exhaust out of the cylinder and making its next stroke. So we're halfway there. We're going to crank her around 1 more time. And we're going to do that twice is what the book recommends. So here we're at the 12 o'clock all over again. 12 o'clock on the crank, 12 o'clock on the cam. So that's what you want to do as the factory service manual recommends. The factory service manual is going to tell you want 17 to roughly 20 foot-pounds if you're going to torque wrench these bad boys, which is probably a good suggestion. Not necessarily needed, but if you're a newcomer to working on stuff, always good to torque it to spec so that you know you're solid. And this is definitely stuff you don't want to torque too much that you snap off, but not too little that it backs off, because you definitely don't want this belt coming loose. So you're looking at 17 to 20 on this bolt and about 7 foot-pounds on the stud here, this little stud guy. So those are the recommendations from, well, not recommendations, that's what they tell you to do. So do it and do it right. So now your belt is on. You're torqued to spec. You are looking badass. So from here, what you would be doing is reassembling everything, getting your cover back on, plastic cover. Sometimes those covers get wrecked, so good time to replace that plastic cover with a new one. Sometimes they get warped and the pulley starts eating into the plastic. But another thing I want to show you guys while I have you is a lot of times you pull the distributor out, because these are very well known for leaking, the big O-ring in the back. So you pull it out, and sometimes you can get all haywire of where the hell the distributor goes, and you're not sure when you stab it back in there if you're where you need to be. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of that, because that's another very common question. It happens all the time, all the Facebook groups, everybody's asking about it, and it's super easy. So what you want is number 4 cylinder at top dead center. You're gonna say, what the hell, Tony? Why is there a frickin' screwdriver sticking out of number 4? Well, it's a real easy way to, I got the plug pulled. It's a real easy way on the Samurai straight up and down, so not quite as productive, but on slant engines, you can tell a little bit more clearly. But what you want is you want top dead center on number 4. So when you're cranking you're gonna pull the plug, and you can put your wrench on the bolt, turn it over. You can stick your finger, or let's say you have a compression gauge, put it in there, and when you start feeling pressure, you know you're on the compression stroke. A lot of guys get mixed up and do 180 out. They just toss that cylinder up at the top and don't even consider, is it on the compression stroke? I don't know, but it has to be, because that's when you're compressing the gases, and the spark is going to occur from the distributor, from the wire to your plug, creating the explosion. So if you're not up there with the compressed gases, you're not going to be exploding nothing, you know what I'm saying? So you're going to be fooling. So a lot of times if you stick a flashlight in there, you'll be able to see the cylinder coming up, but if you put a screwdriver in and you're cranking it over, you'll see the screwdrivers start rising up out of the cylinder, and then all of a sudden you'll see it stop for just a slight hair and then start going back down. So you want to stop it right when it's at that plateau, and then you know you're at TDC, top dead center. So when you're at top dead center here, I'm going to pull this off in a second and show you, but you want the spinning rotor inside to be pointed. You're going to follow your number 4 wire, and you want that rotor pointed right at that number. I put red on it, right at that spot. I'm going to show you that right now with the cap off. So when guys on the internet say point that rotor at number 4, this is what they mean. A lot of guys that are new to cars get confused. They're like, what the hell is he talking about? You know, this is the number 4 plug. So when I pull this cap off, you see how that rotor, this is the rotor right here. That's pointed right where that plug wire would be. So you know what that means? That this rotor is going to create a spark right to this number 4 wire, shoot that spark down through the wire into the spark plug, into the cylinder, causing an explosion at the exact moment it's at top dead center, compressing the gas, causing the explosion. So when you break it down, it's really simple if you think about it. So if you're 180 off, if you're 180 off, the rotor is going to be up here. You're not going to be where you want to be, or I mean, so I'm sorry, you're going to be on the exhaust stroke. So you're not going to be causing the explosion when it's supposed to happen. So when you are stabbing a distributor from an unknown engine, you want to get your number 4 cylinder, top dead center, on the compression stroke. And when you pull this distributor out, I'll make another video of that to make it more clear, but you're going to have a gear on the bottom, and when you slide it in, you want the rotor pointed exactly where that plug wire is. And you need to get it close so that it starts the engine. Once you get the engine started, then you're going to break out your timing light, shoot your timing light, and then you're gonna have this bolt loosened here, and you're gonna be rotating your distributor to fine-tune that timing and get the engine purring like a badass kitten. But initially, to get it running, that's what you have to do. Get that rotor lined up with the spark plug wire, number 4, top dead center, compression stroke. So that's basically it. The timing is nothing to be afraid of. These are non-interference engines. If the belt breaks, nothing happens other than the engine shut off. You know, you're not timed up. So No valves hitting pistons, nothing like that. You're not causing any damage. You just got to get lined back up the way I showed you. Both gears at 12 o'clock. Get your belt back on. Get her running. Dial it in with your timing light. You're going to be all good. If you have any questions, feel free to call me or email, Facebook message, whatever. Tony at Hwy83 Suzuki, phone number 262-470-6425. Text me, call me, I'm here to help. I'm here with the parts, Hwy83, your parts source. This is the same setup for the 1.6 Sidekick and Geo Tracker engines. So not just the Samurai, this is the same technique. It's very, very easy. And again, I'm here to help if you need anything. I hope this broke it down to make you feel more comfortable working on it. I know when I was younger, it was very intimidating. Very intimidating taking everything apart and trying to get it back up. Then all of a sudden your rig don't run no more and you feel like an idiot. But no worries. Just ask questions. Watch the YouTube videos. We got you straight. Once you're straight, it's Friday night. We're on to them 16-ounce beers now. Time to relax a little bit, button up all the loose ends, and I'll be back with more videos. Have a great night.